Was 2020. That means 40 years ago I accepted a scholarship from the Alexander-Tharpe Fund to come to Georgia Tech. And in a similar story as to Dr. Cabrera, I would not be here without the philanthropic support of donors to Georgia Tech. And similarly to Dr. Cabrera, I am also an international student, so there's no way I would have ever ended up at Georgia Tech without that opportunity. Unlike Dr. Cabrera, my SAT score did not get me into Georgia Tech. My 40 time did. But it's all worked out, and obviously, what an incredible night. This is an opportunity for us to connect the dots. I don't know that I really understood how I got here when I did. And this is an opportunity for our student athletes to recognize that the reason they have the opportunity that they have is because there's somebody sitting at their table with them that is providing it for them. And it's also an opportunity for our donors to see the return on investment. We've got some extraordinary young people here, and the things that they're doing and will go on to do are exceptional. And we like to talk about what a lot of people think that we're in the entertainment business in intercollegiate athletics, when those of us that are in it actually know that we're in the education business. It just so happens the entertainment value of some of our sports pay for it all. And it's the opportunity that athletics provides that allows us to develop the young people that will go on and change the world. And we cast a broad net. You look around this room, and our student athletes are from every zip code. They're international. They come from every single background. And the interesting thing is that in this room, and when they're wearing the white and gold, they're all Georgia Tech students. They'll all go on to become Georgia Tech alums. We got an incredible heritage here. There's an incredible legacy here. And so before I go on, I would like to, first of all, ask our student athletes to stand as a group and all be recognized. These are truly the leaders of tomorrow, and so often we hear about this generation and what they won't do, can't do, and why we should all be terrified for our pensions. However, in reality, we have never been in better shape when you look at the young people that we are developing and the ones that specifically we are developing here at Georgia Tech. They wouldn't be here if it wasn't for our head coaches, who beat the bushes, turn over the rocks, put on some serious miles in trying to find those very, very special young people that can do this. And not only can do this, that want to do this. And so I'd like to recognize our head coaches. Could you please stand as a group? And then the last group I'd like to be recognized and to stand, because I think it connects the dots. It connects the dots to the opportunity and the return on the investment. And that's what our letter winners that are now donors that are in the room, please stand. Now that is the true legacy. The opportunity was provided, and now they give back so that the next generation will have the opportunities that they did. And I know that there's not many of us that got here through the philanthropic support of others that don't think that this place totally changed our lives. And so a lot of times people will say, especially right now, we're trying to raise a lot of money as part of AI 2020, and we're honing in on that $125 million mark. What are the athletes doing? What are the former athletes doing? And it's great for me to be able to say, actually, our former student athletes are some of the most philanthropic donors and alums that Georgia Tech has. And when this initiative is over and we reach 125, which I expect to happen sooner than later, we'll have probably in the neighborhood of 25 to 30% of that 125 million will come from our former student athletes, which not all institutions can say that. We started the fall with a bang. I mean, we have so much to be excited about, and whether it was this afternoon or last night, what happened up in Boston, across the board, our student athletes are thriving here, are competing at the highest level, as well as maintaining, on average, a little over 3.0 GPA, an 89% graduation rate. The days of when did... You know, for those of us, and looking out at the room, most of you, a lot of you were either my contemporaries or maybe got here a little before we did. We used to talk about, you know, when did you get out? And we wear that like a badge of honor. The problem is that that's not a great way to recruit students to Georgia Tech. So we don't say that anymore in athletics because, in fact, our student athletes are thriving here and are doing well and are graduating. And the fact that over half of them do summer internships while still competing at the highest level, we can do things and are doing things that nobody else can do. And by that I mean our student athletes can compete at the highest level in their sport and compete at the highest level in academics, and they can be prepared for a life of success like no other place. And the reason that they have the opportunities that they have here are twofold. One, it's location. Our location can't be duplicated. We're in Midtown Atlanta. We are surrounded by opportunity. And our student athletes, all they have to do is walk across the Fifth Street Bridge to get to it. The other thing is that our student athletes, they're in all the right majors. There's a reason we can get them the summer internships they get with the biggest brands in America, and it's because they're in the right majors. So there are those out there that say, you know what, Georgia Tech can't compete because it's too hard and this and that and whatever, and I say, that is so wrong because we can do things, we can offer young people, we can offer student athletes an opportunity they can't get somewhere else. And so we play to our strengths, and that is our strength. So we started the fall with Andy Ogletree winning the USAM. And we finished the fall with our head women's volleyball coach, Michelle Collier, winning Coach of the Year. We also finished the year, when it comes to philanthropy, with what has got to be. Last year was a record year of fundraising for the athletic department in the history of Georgia Tech, and I think December, it had to be the greatest fundraising month in the history of Georgia Tech athletics. We actually had our first head coach's position endowed by Dick Birkmark in women's swimming, men's and women's swimming and diving. The Zelnaks provided a lead gift of $5 million for the volleyball facility. And we had an anonymous donor throw down the $10 million gauntlet so that we could finish out the EDGE project. So we are now within $10 million of the $70 million we need to get that thing started. And of course, that will end up being the largest capital project in Georgia Tech history that is totally raised with fundraising dollars. Thank you, because the people in this room are the ones that are allowing us to do this. Without you, we can't attract the young men and women that are in this room that are going to go on and do spectacular things while they're here, but that's just the start. It's what they're going to go on and do beyond here that is going to make us eternally proud, and I can't tell you how important it is that we're able to do this so that we can compete at the highest level, because at Georgia Tech, winning is important. Unfortunately, Karen and I aren't going to be able to stay through the whole program because I'm on a little committee called the CFP, and we've got a big game tomorrow. So we've got to catch a flight. But I do want to say, and so I'm going to miss Keely's introduction to the next speaker, Dr. Kofi Smith. And I would like to just mention a couple of things about Kofi, because I was his academic advisor when he was an undergraduate here. And so you'll see some of my magic in play right there. But he's a remarkable young man, and just to see what these kids can become. And that's Dr. Kofi Smith. And so I'm going to let Keely tell you how important he is and all the great things that he's done and all of that. But I want to tell you that I have never been more proud of one of my former student athletes as I am of him. And the beauty of it is he's not alone, because he's got teammates and student athletes that were in other sports that have gone on to do extraordinary things as well. He is exceptional, but he's not the exception to the rule at Georgia Tech. Thank you.